As followed, my name is James Williams Jr. This is Kung Fu Havoc 2. I'm going to try to keep this short and simple because I have to get ready to carry my ass to work. So, I was talking about how people was doing technology and the DC shows were ruling, and now I want to talk about this Marvel thing. I watched this video, I don't know who posted it, and I'm not mad at them, and I don't really care if they get mad at me for what I'm saying. You have to understand that when they made the Captain America movie in the 90's, they didn't have half the tech that they have now. It's the same thing like when they made the Flash TV show in the 90's. They didn't have the major league tech. And FYI, the Captain America movie in the 90's was not a bad movie. The costume was a little rinky dinky, but it wasn't a bad movie. And you should not insult the actors for doing the job that they did. The actors can only do what they're supposed to do, and then everything else is all about the tech. You know, having the shield not go that far or whatever for the Captain America movie versus having the shield and the ugly ass helmet for the Captain America uniform in the Captain America TV show. That's really not the actor's fault. It's really not the producer's fault. You can only use the tech that you have in the 80's and the 70's and even the 60's, like for shows like that, because Batman in the 60's was a smashing hit with Adam West and kaboom going across your screen and everything. And it was made as a comedy, and it was a serious comedy, and they touched on some serious issues. But if you're like judging it and not really watching it before you pass judgment, then you should be kicked in the ass. But I'm going to the Captain America thing for a reason. Chris Evans. I'm sorry to say this to everybody who don't like Chris Evans. Good job, man. He's like the greatest Captain America ever, just like he was the greatest Johnny Storm. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that if he had to weigh the pros and cons, he probably liked playing Captain America a hell of a lot more than he liked playing Johnny Storm. And now he got a lot of flack because he was Johnny Storm, and it's like, now you're gonna be Captain America. Well, he proved all you guys who gave him flack wrong, and he gave everybody the finger. He said that he couldn't play another hero outside of Johnny Storm. He proved you guys that he was a badass as Johnny Storm, and he was a badass as Cap. Now, I'm not saying this because I'm a fan. I'm saying it because personally, as a fan, he gave you guys the finger and showed you guys that he was Cap. Period. He died for that part. He really went out and did everything he could do to get that part. So, fuck you guys who didn't support Chris Evans as Captain America. Now, for the guy that played Captain America in the 90's movie, he didn't do a bad job. It's just that you only have so much tech. And when you're throwing something like that, and it's not going to come back, because in real life, we don't have magnetic vibranium around here where it can bounce off of something and come right back to a person. This is why they have special effects. So in the new millennium of the 2000s, we've been able to come a long way with special effects and stuff. So we've been able to make shields magically bounce off walls and come back, and him stabbing it into a robot and diving through it and drop kicking it through the chest of the robot in Age of Ultron. Compared to the old 90's, there was a 90's Fantastic Four that no one ever got to see. And it came on like one time on TV, and it came on really, really late. And if you missed it, well, I'm sorry you missed it, because I don't think you can even find it on video. But you can find the old Captain America on video if you look hard enough. It'll probably be on a VHS tape, but you can find it. If you don't have a VCR, well, then finding it will be pointless because you won't be able to watch it. Same thing with that Fantastic Four movie, which came out before the Jessica Alba and Chris Evans version, and it wasn't a bad movie, but at the time, Marvel really didn't have money, like talking about it. At that time, when they were making those movies, DC had more money. Disney didn't have an influence over Marvel, but when Disney acquired Marvel, they blew off the chain, which is why, unfortunately, they couldn't get the X-Men back, but they did get Spider-Man back. So now, they have Marvel's front runners. And if you're not a comic book fan and you have no idea what I'm talking about, yes, that looks like it's a permanent stain. I don't know if it is or not. It kind of distracted me. I mean, you can see it on camera. So, as a comic book fan, I tell you this every time I make a video. Don't look at it with comic book eyes. Look at it as a movie. Because they're bringing your comic books to life, but they had to deviate from certain things. And in deviating, you really just kind of take things from us, but they also kind of have to, because they want to make it the movie this is how this would be if they lived in this real world. Now, my favorite line from Age of Ultron was, Avengers, if you get hurt, hurt them back. If you get killed, walk it off. Chris Evans delivered an awesome one with that. It's like, yeah, hell yeah, that was the shit. You know. And my second favorite line was from Tony Stark when he was pounding the hell out of Hawk's face, going, "Go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep." That was awesome. It was as realistic as you could get for a comic book movie. So, to the guys who have insulted the movies that came before these, try making a movie. See how hard it is to get money and special effects and to get people to actually enjoy it and see it. And then come back and insult the movies that you insulted. Because if you have the money to make a movie instead of the capability of what we're doing now, talking on the internet and passing judgment, the internet didn't exist back then. It came out like it got started in the late 90s or the early 90s. These movies were made like in 87 and 89, They didn't really have the depth in Captain America in 91, The only reason why it didn't sell is most of them went directly to video. They never really made it to the theater. Where once something goes to the theater, okay, cool. And a lot of people, okay, I'll be the first to tell you, when I first heard the Avengers with Ray Fine, that wasn't the Avengers that I thought I was going to see. I literally thought it was going to be Captain America and them, and then I paid this money to see Uma Thurman, I think, in Ray Fiennes. I'm not really sure if it was Uma Thurman or not, but I know it was some woman in Ray Fiennes in England doing stuff. They were like spies or some shit. It was based on a TV show. So I'm like, this isn't the Avengers? No, but apparently it's the Avengers. It's just not my Avengers, and it wasn't Marvel's Avengers. So, like I said, sometimes titles will fool you. And a lot of people probably didn't look for the Fantastic Four when it went directly to video. But when Captain America went straight to video, I had heard about it like on one of those Marvel ads in the comic book. So the first thing I went to go, I looked for it, I found it, and I watched it. I probably should have bought it, but I didn't. And at that time, video stores didn't really sell you movies; they let you rent them. So now you can't find it anywhere. But if you can, and if they digitally remaster it, it probably would still hold up. It probably would not hold up against Captain America, the First Avenger, and it probably wouldn't hold up against the Winter Soldier, but it would still hold up, if you're a comic book fan. Because they tried to do it as best they could. And, without technology, sometimes the best is what you get. So, in closing, I'm James Williams Jr. This is Comfort Havoc 2. Please stop insulting movies that you did not make. If you don't like them, hey, you're a comic book fan. You have to understand that today's tech versus the 70s, 80s, and 90s tech is like up here, out of frame, where those guys was just barely on the cusp of getting this shit done. Plus, they all had deadlines. And so it's not the actor's fault. It's not the director's fault. It's not the producer's fault. It's just tech. If you don't have a lot of tech, you can't make superhero movies without tech. It's just not going to happen. Unless you actually can film someone who actually has superpowers, it's not going to happen. So in closing, I just want you guys to remember that I'm not angry at you for insulting these movies. I'm just letting you know, you can't blame somebody for the technology that they didn't have back then. Now that they have the technology, you should applaud them because the new version of these movies are off the fucking chain. Where the old versions of these movies, it wasn't their fault that they didn't have the tech. If they had today's tech with that Captain America or that Fantastic Four, no one would have ever said anything bad about it. You know what I'm saying? It's just like the same thing with Ryan Reynolds and Green Lantern. He took a lot of stabs at that at Deadpool. And you know what? I can't say I blame him. But the thing was, Ryan Reynolds did do pretty good as Hal Jordan. The problem was that the movie was made kind of funky. And everyone knows that Hal Jordan's most deadliest enemy will be and always has been Sinestro. But in the movie, Sinestro never betrayed them. And it's also a matter of tech. They didn't tell the full story the way they should have told it. You've rarely seen Ryan Reynolds in a test jet to begin with. He came there in his car. And I'm like, okay, well, that's the first and only complaint I had about it. Other than that, him busting out naked and going, watch this. Look at this thing. It works awesome. And having to recharge the ring, that was alright. It wasn't bad writing. It definitely wasn't bad acting. It was just the fact that the tech was fucked up and they didn't follow the whole story with Abensor. So, they kind of picked up the movie with Abensor crashing, but before you get to that part, it's dull as fuck. And you have to have Brian Reynolds go through so many changes before he even gets to the goddamn ring. Then when he gets to the ring and he's swept out of the world onto the OA. You know, it's the tech, and it was pretty good tech, but it wasn't like the great tech. And then you also have to remember that a lot of things get taken out of the movie in the editing room because they fear that it won't make the movie well, or because they fear that it will make the movie worse. So you know, that's that. And thank you, Ryan Reynolds, for Deadpool, by the way, because Deadpool, he picked on himself, and an actor who can pick on himself is a true star, and it's all right to make fun of yourself as an actor. I know this because I make fun of myself and how much my acting career sucks every time I make one of these videos. I'm James Williams Jr., this is Comfort Happy number 2. I gotta get the hell out of here because I'm going to be late for work. Be seeing you.